Well, hey there, it's Jamie from Not So Wimpy Teacher, and back for our usual Thursday live video, and I'm really excited about that. Today we are going to be talking about writing workshop and how to make it less chaotic. And if you've ever used a writing workshop, then you've probably had the experience of feeling like it was complete chaos. So if so, you're in the right spot. But before we get there, let's hear from you. Can you tell me when your last official day of school is? When is your last official day of school? Because it's on my mind. Oops. Sorry, I'm trying to manage some technology down here. But it's on my mind because it's my kids' very last day was today, which it was kind of a technicality because they really haven't done anything in a week. But today was our last day of school. It was pretty exciting, but a little anticlimactic. I mean, I took them outside with a little poster saying, last day of 8th grade, last day of 9th grade. And there was a little parade, which I thought was super cool. My daughter's in the middle school. And the middle school teachers paraded around all the different neighborhoods in the school district. And so we got to go out there and wave, and she saw her teachers, and they called her name out the window, and that was really nice. But it's certainly not the same as your usual last day of school and the awards ceremonies and signing yearbooks and that sort of thing. But I'm really excited to not have to worry about my students' at-home learning assignments for a couple of months. All right, we have some already done. Amy says it was yesterday. Alicia says last Friday. Awesome. All right, and then we have some more in June. It's okay. I'm sorry if I'm making the June people a little jealous. Don't feel too bad. We start school in July around here, so, right now you might be jealous that we're already out, but when we start in July, you guys can laugh at us. Jennifer's last day was today. Well, congrats, Jennifer. Welcome to summer break. Wow, Christina's, yours was on the 15th of May. That's really early, but at the same time, totally understandable this year. Sue, your last day is tomorrow. Well, you're almost there. Welcome to summer break. I am sorry for the June ones. I'm super sorry, but it's coming. It's going to come fast. It's almost June. We're like a week away from June, guys. So you're almost there. All right, May 28th, that one's next week. That's coming up faster than you can imagine. This isn't how we thought we'd end our year. I totally get that, but I love that we're making the most of it and reading in my teacher Facebook groups what teachers are doing to make the end of year special for their students. It really brings a smile to my face to know how hard you guys are working at bringing some normalcy to your students and just some celebration. It means so much to me to read those. All right. I want to talk about a topic that's near and dear to me, and it's writing workshop. I used the workshop model for reading, math, and writing. I believed in the workshop model, and I thought, well, if it's good enough to use in reading and math, then why not use it in writing? But I changed it up just a tad, and I made a small, simple change that made a huge, big impact. And that's really what I want to talk to you about today, because I think that I can help you to make your writing workshop just less messy. So tell me if this is ever what writing workshop feels like to you. It's just like a hot mess. Like you've got kids over in the corner talking. I mean, they're pretending to peer at it. I'm not sure if they are or not, but they're talking. You've got a kid over here in this corner with his head on his desk, not even pretending to work. You have a kid staring at the clock. You have a line of kids saying, teacher, can you help me? I need help. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to write about. And the 30 to 45 minutes you have for writing just kind of makes you sweat because it feels like there's so many different things going on all at once. I kind of hope I'm not the only one, but that was so overwhelming to me to feel like so many things happening at once and not being able to really meet the student needs. So let me tell you a little bit about the traditional writing workshop. So many things I love about it and so many things that I carry over into how I teach writing. And I still say I use the writing workshop model. I just made some minor adaptations to the model that made it work so much better. So Traditional writing workshop. The teacher, you teach a mini lesson, and you would choose this topic based on what you had noticed in student writing. So you teach a mini lesson, and then your students would go off to write on their own. And the thing is, everyone's at a different place in the process. So you have some students who are planning, you have some students who are drafting, you have some students revising, some editing, some peer editing, some publishing, all at the same time, because everyone works at their own pace. So you might deliver an amazing lesson on leads, and then you let everyone go and they work on what they need to work on because they're all at a different place in their writing. Because the reality is it doesn't take the same amount of time for everyone to write, just like it doesn't take the same amount of time for everyone to read. So everyone's at a different place in the writing process. Then the teacher has writing conferences and would pull back one student at a time to work on exactly what they are doing in their writing, since it's going to be different for every student. They're at a different place, they have different needs. And that is the traditional writing workshop. Of course, and it's important that there's also choice built into writing workshops. Students are working at their own pace, choosing their own topic, that sort of thing. So there are so many things I love about this, and I don't want you to miss that. I love short mini lessons. I love student choice, where they're writing about the things that really inspire them. I love conferencing. I love lots of time for writing and just a short lesson. And so writing workshop, to me, I knew I wanted to make it work. But I would be doing my writing workshop and I might teach that great lesson on leads, and then I send my kids off to write. You've got some kids planning, and so maybe the lead lesson was good for them. Some kids drafting, maybe it was good for them. You got revising, editing, publishing. Some people are way past the lead in their draft, and so the lead lesson wasn't really what they needed to hear, and they weren't able to use it right away. If a student doesn't use a lesson right away, the odds of them remembering and using it later are almost zero. So that's what was happening, was I was delivering a lesson, but it wasn't the lesson that all my kids needed to hear. There was no lesson that all my kids needed to hear because all my kids were in a different place in the writing process. And so the lesson just wasn't something they needed that day. Also, because all my kids were in a different place in the writing process, it was harder for me to conference with them. I mean, it's hard to have one kid come and you conference with them about a revision strategy. Another kid's coming to you and they don't know what to write about. You got to help them. Another kid wants help with editing some spelling. And I feel like I was going back and forth between so many different skills, and I had to be prepared really to teach on everything and anything because everyone's at a different place. I found this really difficult. As a teacher, I just felt like I didn't know what to do to just help all my kids. And so this is what I did. I knew I had to make a change. I wanted to keep those mini lessons, lots of independent writing time, choice, and conferences. But I wanted to find a way to have all of my students be at the same place in the writing process at the same time. And that is how the Not So Wimpy writing process was born. All right, it's just fun to give things a name. So if you don't already do that in your classroom, definitely do that. When you teach them a fun skill or strategy, name it after yourself, okay? It's a must. Your students will remember it forever. They will be like in their 30s and still calling it by the name you gave it. So that's just an extra tip that wasn't supposed to be, but I just had to tell you that. So the Not So Wimpy writing process. I kept everything awesome about writing workshop and just found a way to get all my students at the same place at the same time. This is what it looks like with the Not So Wimpy writing process. We do a mini lesson, the teacher, still that 10 to 15 minute lesson, and you start at the beginning of the writing process. So your first lessons are about planning, and your next lesson's about drafting, and then you're gonna do a bunch of lessons about revising, and a couple about editing, and a couple about publishing, and you are going to work through the entire writing process. So you give that mini lesson, and then all of your students are going to go to write. They are going to implement the strategy you've just taught them, because all of your students are working on what I love to call the masterpiece. And it is the one piece of writing they're working on at the teacher's pace, at the class's pace. So everyone is planning at the same time. everyone drafts at the same time. Everyone revises and edits and then publishes their masterpiece at the same time. So when I teach that lesson about leads, I then send my students back and say, great, now that you've learned 2 strategies for writing really interesting leads, I want you to use those 2 strategies today to come up with 2 different leads for your story and circle the one you like best. They're implementing the lesson that I've just taught them right away. Before they forget it, they're using it when they need it because I know they're all ready to revise their leads. They're all at the same place at the same time in their masterpiece. They all have choice. They're not writing about the same topic. I am not suggesting you do some prompt, report, project, craftivity. They all have choice still because that's the best part of writing workshop is that choice. They're all writing about something they're interested in, but they're writing it at the class's pace. That's their masterpiece. Now the problem became, all right, if they're all writing at the same pace, the reality is it doesn't take every kid the same amount of time to write. And that was the original problem, that some kids drafted in a day and moved on while other kids drafted for a week. And that's how they ended up not being at the same place. With the Not So Wimpy writing process, I'm giving them a very small chunk to work on in their masterpiece. Some of them will take their whole independent writing time doing it. Many will finish early. But I don't let them move on in their masterpiece. So if we learned how to revise the lead today, then they stop with the lead. They don't go on and revise the ending and the dialogue. As soon as they're done with the task for that day, they flip to the back of their writing notebook and work on a different story of the same genre, the genre we're working on. So at one time, most students have 2 stories they're working on. The masterpiece at my pace, the class's pace, and then another story in the same genre, practicing all the skills we've been working on, but at their own pace. The masterpiece is the one I care about the most. The masterpiece is the one I'm going to end up grading. The masterpiece is what we're going to focus on. But the other stories keep my students writing the entire time and practicing and allow us to stay at the same place in the masterpiece. Also, conferencing gets easier with the Not So Wimpy writing process. Since everyone's at the same place, there are similar needs, more similar needs. Yes, all of our students are different at different places in their writing ability, but there's a lot more similarities now. Now that everyone is planning at the same time and everyone's revising at the same time, we have some similarities. So we can conference in small groups rather than conference with one student at a time, which is really time consuming. We can now put together groups of students and pull a group of students back and conference on one topic that we know our group needs. And that made the whole writing workshop so much easier. So now it's a mini lesson that's very targeted, what they need to do that day. Send them off to write, working on their masterpiece. If they finish what I've asked them to do in their masterpiece, they work on another story. Well, I meet with one conference group each day to focus on a skill or strategy that we've already learned but need to practice more, or a strategy that that particular group just needs extra practice with. And that's the Not So Wimpy writing process. It's a minor change, but it allows for big results because students are using exactly what you're teaching them that very day. Instead of just teaching like a whole bunch of random lessons and hoping that when they get to that spot in their writing, they'll use it, now we are really keeping it nice and focused. So I'd love to hear what you guys think about the Not So Wimpy writing process and how that might help your writing workshop. And if you have questions, get in the comment box and ask them so that I can make sure and get them answered for you. But I did want you to know that I am going to be teaching all about writing workshop, the Not So Wimpy writing process, mini lessons, conferencing, grading, getting started at the beginning of the year, all of it in an online professional development course called the Not So Wimpy Writing Masterclass. And this is the second summer we've offered the masterclass. We're very excited because we re-recorded all of the lessons in the masterclass, added extras, added bonus tips, and extra printables and things to help teachers even more. So we're so pumped up about this. The Not So Wimpy Writing Masterclass, my online professional development, will open next month. It opens in June. It opens June 22nd. We're so excited. And I don't want you to miss out on the opportunity because we only open this course once per year. So if you miss out in June, we won't be offering it again until the next summer. So that's a long time to wait. So we have put together a wait list that you can get on now. So you make sure that you get the information. We will email you the information as it comes close to the course opening up for enrollment. And so the link to get on that wait list is just notsowimpyteacher.com/waitlist. And we just dropped it in the comments too, but it's notsowimpyteacher.com/waitlist. So let me know if you have questions about the Not So Wimpy writing process, but I'm going to dive in so deep and really give you a step-by-step look at how to make this sort of writing work in the masterclass. Jennifer, you can always watch the replay of this if you stepped in late, and check out my blog for more information about teaching writing. It's notsowimpyteacher.com, but we add articles to our website every single week, and we've been writing about writing a ton because it's something we kind of nerd out about talking about. Sue said that she used it last year in writing and loved it. So that's awesome. I'm super excited for you, Sue. Let me know though if you have more questions about this process or about getting on the wait list for the masterclass. We'd really love to have you in there. The masterclass is also going to have a special private Facebook community, and I will be in that community along with my entire team. We really make sure to serve teachers and give them every bit of help that they'll need to make the most effective writing workshop a possibility for their students in the coming year. So we would look forward to getting to work with you. David says he wants to be in the masterclass. Make sure you get on the wait list, David. It's notsowimpyteacher.com/waitlist. And we will be in touch with you and make sure that you know, because we only open this course up once per year. It's a big undertaking for us, and so we only do it once per year. So, all right, I am going to let you guys get back to either working or enjoying a little summer fun. But if you think of some questions, go ahead, come back and ask them, and we will do our best to come over here and answer your questions as soon as we possibly can. All right, have a not so wimpy day.